12:03. Hi everyone. So I think it's a bit tough to we were debating whether or not we should stand there or here because it's a bit harder to reach you guys. Is it okay if we stand here, you think? Yeah? So that we feel closer and more connected to you guys as Kelly was speaking. So I know some of you here, if you turn back and then you cannot see the slides, but hopefully you can do a double take like that. Good. We're good. So we can start. Cool. So this workshop, as you all know, was supposed to be Seth Goldstein's workshop on trends, and then at the very last minute, he had to leave early, and so we are doing this very last minute workshop. So just know that whatever we have here is basically put together pretty last minute, but I still think it's useful. And it's a good thing that a lot of what we're going to teach or present today is actually going to come out in the STAR article next week. Because I actually happen to be writing about pitching and presentation to be published in the STAR. So if you don't know, every bi-weekly, once every 2 weeks, I write a column, like a full-page column in the STAR SME Biz. I think this is my 16th piece, and every other week I talk about something new. I've talked about fundraising, tips for fundraising. This week I happen to talk about pitching presentation. A couple of weeks ago I talked about regional exposure and why startups have to go regional from day one, things like that. So today, I converted my my article into this presentation. And we felt that it's important for you guys to learn in like that 5 or 10 minute pitch. How do you engage your investors? And in today's session, this 1 hour, we're going to talk about 3 things. So first of all, how do you create a compelling elevator pitch? So elevator pitch means it's a very short pitch. So the essence of it is that you happen to meet a very prominent investor or someone that you might invest in your company, and you only have that 30-second in the elevator ride before you reach the next floor. That the whole point of an elevator pitch is that you want to capture the attention of that person, such that he wants to give you his business card, so that you will meet him at a future date, right? So you want that engagement. So the first part is elevator pitch. The second part is the 15-page investor deck. So either you are presenting at demo day or you meet an investor, you have 10 minutes with him, and you have 15 slides. What do you put in your slide? And then the third part is about creating your founder story. So Kelly talked a lot about storytelling in her presentation this morning. Why is that story important? How do you create a compelling founder story? So 3 parts to the talk today.
I think that sounds very experienced and like this has been put together like a year ago. So it doesn't sound like it was just put together, quickly. It sounds like it's pretty rich, experience what we're going to be taking you through in the next hour. And I do think how you pitch, that elevator pitch is really important, and it's boiling it down to its most important objective and what is it that you want and what is it that the other person may want. And also the deck is something that is uber important because most people tend to will put too much information, there's too little information, sometimes a slide isn't in the right place. And just having that order and that frame of mind will help you tremendously when you're in the room and even when you're not in the room. So how is it that your slide, your deck can make an emotional impact as much as it makes that content impact? Yeah. Okay? Yes? Cool.
Yeah, and before we start, there is a URL for the deck, so you can take notes, but then you can also access this deck on bit.ly/pitchhack2015, and you can get this, and I'll tweet it out as well. So creating a compelling elevator pitch. So this one is in person, so you have 30 seconds how do you pitch your company, right? So I actually have a formula, a very simple formula that you can all do right now. So take out your notepad, your pen, or your laptop, and we'll give you a little bit of time to try to fill this in. It shouldn't take a long time because if you have an idea, it should be easy to fill out, right? So it goes like this. My company, dash company name, whatever your company is, unique value proposition is building a solution to solve a problem, addressing the addressable market, whatever your market is, your target audience is. So you can feel free to check the formula, but all the basic elements should be there. I'll give you an example, right? My company, MaGIC, that is run by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, but our unique value proposition, different from maybe some other agencies in Malaysia, right? Is building a platform for high growth and social entrepreneurs to be exposed to a regional and global mindset, to be educated in specific startup skills, so that's what you're attending today, MaGIC Academy, and for their startups to be accelerated to be investment ready, addressing the 620 million market opportunity in Southeast Asia that they can potentially capitalize on. So that's my pitch for my company, for MaGIC right now. So going back to this formula, does anyone want to give a try? Like, anyone want to stand up and try to pitch this? You just have to fill in the blanks. Okay, there. Tom, you want to give him the mic? Sure.
Okay. My company, Impacta, is a software as a service to measure training effectiveness.
To solve what problem?
Wait. It's building. Okay. Let me try this again.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good. It's good to practice, right? So, I put unique value proposition there just because for me it was easier to explain like MaGIC by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs right after I say the company name. But you don't have to actually put it there. Like I said, you can tweak it, right? So my company, Impact Hub, that is solving I don't know the issue of maybe like co-working space, right?
Measuring training effectiveness.
Yeah. So maybe like for who?
For HR managers. Addressing the training market, the global training market that they could possibly, what did you say? I like how you said it. Let me see it. Addressing the $100 billion market opportunity in the global training industry.
$100 billion opportunity. Okay. So I put addressable market because 100 billion is not really, is it 100 million or 100 billion?
Yeah, it's a B.
B. Okay, that's the dollar sign, right? The value of the market. Okay.
Should I go like more Southeast Asia, and then addressable, more?
I think for Malaysia, yeah, for Southeast Asia, it's more realistic. If your market is the US, then you should mention that. But, so the US has 300 million people, right? And if you say your market in HR is 100 million, that means you're assuming that a third of the US population is in HR, which doesn't, the value.
Dollars, yeah, I didn't
okay.
say, yeah, dollars.
Right, okay. So I was thinking population. But yeah, you can mention the value as well.
Okay.
Yeah. But I didn't kind of mention is your target market US or Southeast Asia and whatnot.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So you can try again.
I'll try again, yeah. Okay. So my company, Impacta, is... Impacta,
okay.
Impact with two A's,
okay.
is a software as a service for HR managers to solve how to measure training effectiveness, addressing the $40 billion market in Southeast Asia in training.
Okay, so that's good. The part that's missing that didn't really compel me is the unique value proposition. Because I'm sure there are a ton of SaaS software out there for hiring, right? So it's like interesting, but okay, but why should I pay attention to you? Why should I give you my business card if I'm an investor to meet with you? What makes you interesting?
It's hassle-free, automatic, and it's very affordable compared to the rest.
So you can rattle on features after features, and I hear entrepreneurs do this all the time,
Right.
but still not compelling. So I think maybe what I actually need to, sorry, again, I think I put this a bit last minute, is to mention traction. I think that would actually compel me to meet with you.
Okay.
So, okay, we started 3 months ago, and now we have, I don't know, 1,000 customers, something like that. Like, oh, 3 months ago, 1,000 customers, not bad.
Right.
Okay, what's your name? You know, like, let's exchange business cards, right? So do you have some traction numbers to mention?
Just beta users.
Beta?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 30 beta users we just launched like a month ago. So we don't have numbers yet.
Okay. So, okay, at any stage, again, you don't know who you're going to get into an elevator with. It could be this investor that you really, really want, or maybe he is someone in HR, and he is like a VC that looks into investing in HR, and you really want his attention, right? Even though you just launched beta, and you only have 30 customers, you still can say something interesting about that 30 customers, right? So what is it? Maybe you can mention some validation point, like, I have 30 beta customers, and they've been using my product for a month, and, I don't know, 80% of them tell me that it really solves their problem, and it saves them 10 hours a week. Or like, it reduced they can see that it's going to reduce the cost by $1,000 a month. Can you say something like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So yeah, I have 30 beta users who've been using it for a little bit less than a month, and they have before have no data, and now they can say that their trainings are actually making a difference at work, and they've saved thousands of ringgit per month compared to doing it manually.
Okay, excellent. See how much better that is? Before my product, so that is the problem, right, in a way. Before my product, they had to do it manually. They had no data about employee productivity, or they had to do it manually. I don't know what your product is, right? So I'm just making it up, blah, blah, blah. After my product, now they have data. Now they save X number of time a month, and hence this will increase general productivity. And my 30 beta users are super excited. We're looking at 50 more customers next month who are lined up to use our product. Would you be interested to meet me for coffee at a later date? Right? And then you end with an ask. What is your ask? You don't just pitch and then like, oh, okay, then wait. Right? You don't ask, you don't get. Right? So you're like, okay, I know you have to go, but here's my card, which maybe we should meet for coffee. Do you have a card yet? No. Right? Cool. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You want to add anything, Kelly?
I thought that was excellent. I really did. And I think what you were getting to was the pain point, and that's what you're solving for your USP or UVP. And that is what makes your company really stand out. And as Cheryl was saying, that really needs to be in the forefront of people's minds, because if you only have 30 seconds, those 30 seconds got to be the most powerful 30 seconds, because it has to get into the person's mind that this is worth having a cup of coffee over, telephone conversation, an email. And so I thought that you addressed the why, and I thought that you addressed the what, which in a quick pitch, that's good. Yeah. The why. You really want to get to that why. Why is this so important? Because that why will give it a sense of urgency. So, great. Good work.
Yeah. Let's try another pitch. Another volunteer.
Who wants to volunteer? I feel like I'm at a game show. And I'm going to pick my next contestant.
Even if you don't actually have a startup right now and you just want to make it up, please make it up. This is a good opportunity for you to practice.
Who would like to pick? Come on down. Come on down.
Don't be
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, I tried something. I'm working on something new, and maybe that this would work. My company called R&D is working on a project which is setting up a marketplace for freelancers to solve a problem that there isn't one in Malaysia. And the specific problem that we want to address is the ability to collect payments online, which is something that is not available in most freelancing websites. As for the addressable market, I don't have that answer, so I'm not sure what to say to that. Right, so that would be my pitch.
Okay. Sorry, marketplace for what?
A marketplace for freelancers.
Freelancers, okay. But then in my head I'm thinking, yeah, there's nothing in Malaysia, but again, I think when you pitch to an investor, Malaysia is too small a market, like it's only 30 million people. When I hear that, if I'm, say, Ardent Capital or Phoenix Ventures, they're like, oh, okay, like does he know that he has a ton of competitor outside, like Freelancer, Elance, so many other, and they are all here. So then, how do you make that more interesting, right?
So the starting point is of course Malaysia, but the idea is to go to Southeast Asia. The biggest issue is currency. There are none which address the Asian market. Every freelancing website is based on a European model or a US model. They all collect in US dollars, and payment does not go directly. So it's actually controlled by the website itself. So if there are any issues, you're left out. So the idea is to address. The key problem is to address that which is payment collection and currency.
Yeah. So you use a lot of words to say it, so you can always refine it and say it in fewer words, so it's more concise, right? But you need to say that. You need to say that. Anytime you guys pitch, you say you're starting out in the Malaysian market, because of 1, 2, 3 or something like that. But it is not just a Malaysian problem. It is Southeast Asia's problem, or it's an Asian problem. There is no freelancing marketplace serving the Asian market, for example. And we think we can do it because you have a team. I don't know. So usually you throw it in there. That's your unique value proposition. Your unique value proposition can be that maybe no one is there yet, no one is doing that yet, or it could be your team. It could be you have credibility in that field. For example, this guy solving the HR problem. Maybe you say, our team are all like HR experts, or I have a family business that has done HR recruiting for like 20 years. That is your unique value proposition. And investors like entrepreneurs who have deep expertise, because I now know you can tap on your family business network, right? And so that's something interesting to me that differentiates you from someone else, right? So then you can say, if you're just building a marketplace, why you? Why not someone else, right? So your team can be your background, personal background, your team's background could be a unique selling proposition too. Or the third one could be credibility, validation, right? So, my company, freelance.my, or something like that. You can say, I'm solving this problem, in Asia, blah, blah, blah. My validation could be, I'm actually raising $1 million and I already have 500K committed. I'm looking for 500 more K and I know you're an investor. Would you be interested in this model? Can we meet? Right? That's something else. Like, I have some commitment. I need 500K more. That's like, then automatically as an investor, I think, oh, wow, this guy has, every time you say I have had some investors interested or committed, then automatically I'm like, well, someone else has done their due diligence on him. If I don't invest, maybe I'm missing out. So maybe I should check him out. So you want to get me to like meet you, like. Yeah.
I just probably like to end by asking, so I'm investing my own money in trying out the model first before I go and ask for money. At what point do I then say that the model is successful? I mean, is there like a matrix? Okay, you've got 1,000 customers, or you've got 10,000. What is the standard that I would tell an investor that I've actually gone and validated and I've got customers?
So
30 customers enough? Is 100 enough?
No, great question. Excellent question. A lot of people pitch and they say, I have 30 customers, or I have 1,000 customers. I'm like, okay, traction, you kind of told me you have some traction, but it doesn't matter if it's not traction over time. Because if you could have had 1,000 customers from the past 1 year, and that's not interesting to me, right? If, say, you're a consumer app. If you are a B2B SaaS product, and I know that the value of one customer is higher, then, oh yeah, I've had 2 customers in a month, and each of them are paying, I don't know, like $5,000 a month. And in my mind, like, oh, $5,000 a month, if you get 1,000 customers, that's a lot of money, right? So traction over time matters. Like I started 3 months ago, and I have 1,000 beta customers. If you don't mention the time, it's like, oh, I started a year ago and I have only 1,000 customers. Not very interesting, right? And more interesting, if you can say, is like, I started 3 months ago, and I have 30% growth month over month. I'm like, wow, this guy is growing month over month. Or I'm doubling my revenue month over month, right? So that's something interesting. So say you have 30 seconds and you get out of the elevator and he has nothing to do, the investor has nothing to do, and he wants to talk for a bit more. Then you can expand into, so this is my validation. So these are like the key points that would, if you have a bit more time, then like, oh, in just 1 year, we've educated over 14,000 to 16,000 actually, budding entrepreneurs via MaGIC Academy workshops. And we've created over 200 new developers who now can code or be CTO of startups. In fact, we just launched the MAP Accelerator program where we have over 1,000 applications from 26 countries. And we selected 77 companies to accelerate in our 4-month program, right? Making it Asia's largest equity-free program. And finally, 70% of our entrepreneurs who were part of our EX Stanford program have already raised money. And that's just 1 year. So everything that I said just now, the expose, educate, accelerate, I expanded on. So assuming that's your 3 features or your 3 biggest value proposition as a company, I back it up by each feature. I kind of like mention what my achievements are, what my traction is. So that's kind of like you can expand. But don't in that chance encounter, try not to drag it on. Sometimes entrepreneurs ramble on about their features, and then it's kind of like the first date, and you don't want to talk too much on the first date. Then it becomes a bit boring. The mystery is no longer there. You have to say just enough to catch their attention and be interesting, and you exchange business cards. Okay, I'll call you, or call me. Call me maybe. Right? And then the investor goes like, wow, smart entrepreneur, interesting. Let me actually. The investor will probably not call you, to be honest, because he's too busy. You need to make the initiative, and don't like call right away. Again, it's kind of like dating. Actually, it's exactly like dating, right? So it's like a little bit of mystery in between, and maybe you wait like a couple of days, 3 days, maybe a week, right? Because you also want to see if the investor's interested. But if some investors are like very compelled and maybe they will reach out to you, then you know you have the upper hand. Then you know, oh, he's really interested, right? So you wait a little bit, and then you email them. Oh, hey, remember we met at this elevator in this building, and you seem pretty interested. Let's meet for coffee next week. I'm available Monday, Thursday, and Friday at this time, right? Exactly like dating, just think dating, okay?
Can I just add to that? I think that to know who your audience is super important, and that will help you from rambling on. So if you know who the investor is, you know what they generally invest in, you know how much they generally invest in startups, and you just get an idea. I mean, you might be bringing a product to that they're already invested in another company, so they're not interested. Or maybe you just want to meet them for, some future investment down the road. But I think that the more that you can know about that investor, the more that you'll be cleaner. Because I think that's what Cheryl's saying. Don't go all over the place. Don't tell everything because you don't have to. Just tell them what they want to know. And they have a need that keeps them up at night. Keep in mind, they want to invest in you because they want you to be the next Uber. Right? They're hoping that you walk in the door. So make their day. Give them what they want to hear, and that's doing a little bit of homework. I really like your products, by the way, like the ELAMS and ODES that you were talking about. And it's interesting how in the U.S. that market is supported, but yet here it's not. That's a real need. And so I think that's something that investors can grasp onto because that hits a pain point in the market.
So I really like what Kelly mentioned. I think if you're lucky enough to have done research in these investors, and you should, by the way, do a lot of homework and really understand what markets, what products, what regions or geography the investors invest in. So, like for example, some investors only invest in consumer, some investors only invest in enterprise or B2B. So you can mention these things. Hey, I know you invest in marketplaces. I'm building a marketplace for Asia. Or I know you invested in this marketplace for freelancers in the US. I know you are looking to invest in something similar in Asia, and I have that product. Right? You say something like that, and you immediately get their attention. But understandably, if you meet someone and you don't know who they, you don't really know what they invest in, then you can't do that. Right? Going on to the 10-minute investor pitch, assuming you have about 10 minutes and you have 15 slides, right? What should you have in each slide is what I'm going to go through next. So first of all, of course, the slide number 0 is the startup logo. Now, don't take notes because you will be able to get this online. I'd rather you pay attention. So, typical, your name, your founder's name, your startup name, the date, and a tagline if you have it. And then, again, this is not hard and fast rule. I'll go over some essential slides that I always see missing in the pitches I get at MaGIC and entrepreneurs here. But you can switch it around, just like the elevator pitch. You can always switch it around, right? But I like to start with, say, the problem statement. Here's the problem in Asia. Why is this? Really make sure to call out why is this problem important to the world. I say a world because it has to be a big enough problem, right? It cannot be a small, village. Unless you are solving a social problem, like a social enterprise, then maybe you can start with a community. But then you also have to make sure that that problem persists in other communities, right? So there's a problem in Malaysia, you can mention, but this problem also exists in Vietnam, in Indonesia, in Thailand, in Philippines. Basically, the entire 620 million population market. Right? And then founder story. This slide is, it doesn't have to be a slide. It could be you talking about your founder story over the problem slide. Tell people, why is this problem important to you, the founder? Why are you passionate about solving this problem? Right? Maybe the HR guy can say, I have a family business in HR, and I've seen my dad's employees doing a lot of manual hours doing this. I wish there was a way to use technology to, make it quicker. Something like that. Like, why are you passionate about it? It could be that, hey, you tried using freelancer or Elance, but you couldn't pay because they didn't accept your local credit card, right? And you had a friend who lost thousands of dollars doing something that is not suited to Asia. So something like, it's good sometimes when you tell a founder story to tell a dip, a low point, and something that is maybe a bit sad or depressing, and that's why I'm building this product to solve this problem. I'm so passionate about it because I've seen how badly this issue has affected someone else or myself or my family, and hence I really am passionate about solving this problem.
I like that, the dip. The dip is part of storytelling. So you want to start out with the what, and then you want to go into the why, and the why is generally around that problem. So you're bringing them down and saying, this is what happened, and this is now the problem that we're solving for. So you don't want to leave them in the dip.
It's emotional, right? But you need to bring out the emotion.
Right, so you need to bring them back up. So you start out just saying, this is what it is. You bring them into the dip. The why, it is emotional because that's the piece that's keeping them up at night. And then you bring them back up with a solution.
Solution.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. It is part of storytelling. And I learned this from very professional public speaking experts in Croatia very recently. So anyway, then you come up with a solution. Hence, I'm building this HR product or this freelancing product. But understand yourself. Is the solution that you're building a painkiller or a vitamin? This term is commonly used in the US, meaning that a painkiller is something that, when someone's injured, they really need like medicine and band-aids to like touch the pain, right? Or doctor. It hurts so bad, the problem hurts so bad that I really need to solve it. I'm already patching up my own solution. I'm already doing manual hacks myself to solve the problem. I wish someone else is creating that problem. Or is it just a vitamin? A vitamin is like a bit more, I don't really need it. It's just good to have, Like I don't really need to wear this necklace, this jewelry, but I like it. It makes me look pretty, right? I don't really need to listen to Spotify, but it's good. It's entertaining. It's like music is entertaining to me. So really differentiate if your product is a painkiller or a vitamin. For example, creating mobile apps is not really a painkiller. It's a vitamin. Mobile game apps. Just playing a game is entertainment, right? Whereas perhaps building something like what is a good painkiller problem? Maybe it's e-commerce. Maybe it's delivery, right? Oh, I have to go to the grocery store to buy something. I wish someone would just deliver it to me very cheaply, right? So maybe that is somewhat a painkiller. Okay? And then this is also missing. So once you tell me this is the product you're going to create, most people don't include demos or screenshots. So any entrepreneur, even at the early stages, you should have a sketch or a prototype or some sort of image for what your product will look like. And the reason why this is important is because I want to see that you can actually execute, that you've thought about this, how this product looks like. Even if it's a hardware, take a photo of it and put it up there, right? Because it speaks 1,000 words. So at the MAP Accelerator program for our MAP participants, we sometimes do a product demo because I want to see their product. You can pitch me all day, showing me slides of features of your product and how your product solves the problem. But if I cannot see that you have actually built a decent product, then I don't know if you can execute. For example, this one company pitched a CRM solution. And the most popular CRM solution right now is Salesforce, right? Everybody knows Salesforce, right? And I'm like, well, I'm looking at this guy. He's not really showing me his product. He's local. And we are very judgmental against local products compared to foreign products. It's our own cultural blockage. So I told him, bring up the product. I want to see your product. So he finally pulled up his product and demoed his CRM. And I'm like, wow, it actually looks decent. It looks like I can use it. It looks world class. And if you show me that immediately, you have credibility because you show me that you with your local team here can build something that looks like Salesforce, or maybe even better than Salesforce, right? So even though he showed me his product for 2 minutes, and I see he was uploading this email list, and then I automatically categorize, and he showed me how he can issue an invoice, and he did it real quick, like 30 seconds, and already like that spoke to me way more than his half-hour pitch deck, right? So I think product demos are very, very effective. So when Kelly first coached me for my NYTM, New York Tech Meetup demo, New York Tech Meetup is so popular in New York right now. I think back 5 years ago with 1,000 people, now there's probably even more. They only allow product demos. So for 5 minutes, I demo my product, and I have to practice because so many technical issues can happen. So sometimes you can pre-record stuff, you can tee up the tabs, and you can pre-enter some stuff, copy and paste some stuff. Or I had a partner, David, my first engineer, doing all the stuff for me while I pitched. Remember that? And Kelly, David, and I practiced in a room over and over and over again until we got that demo right to the 5-minute point. And I mentioned all the highlights of my product, and through demoing my product, I explained the problem, the solution, why it's compelling, why it's different, and people got to see it, right? And so they don't even allow any PowerPoint presentations, and very intentionally so.
Yeah, I remember right now I have a product that's about to go into beta, MSOR. It's an online education company. And so the images are so important because when I tell people about it and they come to the site, it looks like it's something that will take off. And so I did that intentionally. because I want people who come to the site to automatically understand it. And even though we may not be able to do the live demos, let's say, but you'll be able to see the pages and you'll be able to see the progression. And I think in this day and age, having like images, doing a demo, it's so important because people just don't have the mindset anymore to listen or to look at something and to try and figure it out. So the more that you can give them, the better it is.
Also, Kelly, Malaysians have a problem where we are very good at planning and apparently very bad at executing. So you guys need to prove this convention wrong, right? So you show that you can execute, then you go and talk about, here's my plans for it, right? So that's why you need to wow someone. You know, people always think that, Malaysia come up with blueprints and plans and lots of big vision and then don't really follow through, right? It's known to be a cultural issue here. So wow them and prove them wrong. Hey, you know what? I don't have a programmer yet. I don't have a developer, but I've done my mock-ups and I wireframe stuff and I thought through my flow and here's what it is. Here's how it's going to look like. And then immediately as an investor, I can give you feedback like, interesting. I think this should be here. You have a conversation now because I can give you feedback. If I don't see it, then I can't give you feedback, right?
Yeah, I think that's a world problem too. I see it in the U.S. I see people sitting right next to me. So I think the clearer that you are about what you want and you make it so simple for yourself, the easier it might be for you to follow through. It's when we combine all these other things and say, I do this, I do that, and I do that too, then we just get bogged down in those details and we don't get to follow it through. So yeah.
So the next screen is, the next slide is also missing. Basically, why now, right? So this is creating a sense of urgency. Why should I invest in your company right now? Why is this the right timing for your product to flourish? So it could be something like this. Say you're creating a marketplace or a platform. Uber is arguably the most valuable transportation logistics company in the world right now, and they don't own a single fleet of vehicles, correct? Airbnb is the most valuable hospitality accommodation company in the world right now, and they don't own a single building or like property, right? And hence, I'm building or like something like I'm building, I don't know, food, a marketplace for food where, I don't know, maybe a lot of restaurants are cooking and have extra capacity, and I'm building a marketplace or a platform for food, and I don't have to own a single kitchen, something like that, right? So then the investor goes, interesting, yes, the transportation industry has been disrupted. The accommodation, hotel industry has been disrupted. Ooh, the food industry has not been disrupted. And this entrepreneur is saying that he or she will solve it. And it's right now. If you don't get in right now, someone else is gonna solve this problem. But this entrepreneur in front of me right now is solving it. I better talk to him, right? So you need to create that sense of urgency.
That hook, yeah.
Or like the guy right now, just now the freelancing problem, he can also say the same thing. The solution exists for the US market, for the European market, for the Australian market, but it does not exist for the Asian market, and hence I'm building it. So that is the why now. The timing right now is right. And you can add other things like this. I actually think that this solution will not work like 5 years ago because people didn't have smartphones in Malaysia, and maybe e-commerce wasn't that good. People don't have credit cards. Now we have 18% credit card penetration, and everyone has a smartphone, and this is why this will work right now, blah, blah, blah. Something like that, right? And then you go into unique proposition, as we practiced a little bit just now. The important thing to note here is that I think people often forget that you forget about the alternatives, the existing solutions. So, for example, I always hear people pushing me that they want to create travel itineraries, or some sort of, I don't know. Yeah, okay, let's just take travel itineraries, right? So right now, and then I asked him, well, who is the competitor? How are you different, whatnot? And he compares it, or he or she compares it with other travel itinerary sites, or TripAdvisor, or this and that. But actually the existing solution, or what I do, is I create a Google Doc or an Excel sheet, and then I share it with the friends I'm going on a trip with, and I collaborate with them on real time for free. So sometimes you forget that your competitor, your biggest competitor, is the nano version, right? A very good example. Yesterday, you know how we give you feedback forms that I hope everyone's filling up? It's paper, right? So someone came up to me yesterday and said, hey, I actually have this web form company, and I actually took the liberty to create a MaGIC feedback form for you so you can use tomorrow. And so then I was like, oh, actually, you know what? This is a great solution. I know we should be using like an app or a web product, but we've tried it so many times. We run 3 to 4 workshops, MaGIC Academy workshops, every single week, and people's behavior right now, you guys are just not going to, he said, oh, we have QR code scans and at the door. And like, people are just not going to, when you're going out later, you're not going to like open your app and like scan and then like fill up, and then you're going to cause a traffic jam, right? You're rushing to another workshop. So people just don't do it. You need to understand that your product competitor is the current mindset, the current behavior that I'm so used to that I know right away. You're trying to change behavior. So sometimes that is your biggest competitor. So for us then, if it's this paper form in front of you, you know you don't have to fill out your name, you don't have to give out your email address, you know it's just one page, very short, okay, just chat, okay, give. So for us, you know, we are unfortunately using paper because that's what you're used to, and for me, that's what gives me the quickest results. But then understand that, right? Then have a plan for how you're going to onboard people, how you're going to change people's behaviors, and think about that. When you mention that to an investor and you understand your current weaknesses or your current barriers, your existing solution, existing competitors, you become a lot smarter to me as an investor, right? Because I'm like, oh, this person actually thought through that, and they understand psychology, they understand customer behavior. Even though you haven't figured it out yet, it's okay. As an investor, I want to be a value-added investor. I actually want to help you think through those things. But if you don't demonstrate to me that you've even like put time to think through your customers' day-to-day behavior, I might just think that, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. You know, he hasn't thought through his problem, his unique proposition, and how he's going to change customer behavior.
And I hear a lot of pitches, and oftentimes what I hear is that people knock their competitors. And I don't think that's a great thing to do, because they're competitors for a reason. They got to where they got to, and they were successful in that area where they are. However, you're disrupting and you're bringing something new to it. So I think that you need to honor the competitors. So when you talk about them, you don't necessarily want to knock them down, because that doesn't look too good on you. But I think honor it and say, and this is what we're doing that's different. This is what we're doing that is really targeting this market. And now you can talk about the differences.
So, for example, that whole feedback form thing, right? It could be that, I don't know, I'm just thinking on my feet right now how to pitch this. It could be like, in the problem statement, you mentioned that as a problem, right? Like web forms at workshops, people just don't fill it in. But I have a better solution, and my solution is actually a hardware solution. I don't know, maybe just very, very cheap $2 tablets that you're going to hand out, and they can just key in and leave, and it's all on your seat, right? And that's my solution, and I show that the cost makes sense. So I address that. I understand the problem. I've experimented, I've tried it before, it doesn't work, the web product just doesn't work, and this is my new solution, right? So then you've demonstrated that you understand your product and your customers. And then the slide everybody has, right? Like, my initial target market is Malaysia or Klang Valley, and you know, Malaysia has 30 million people, but really the addressable market is only the people who are tech savvy or urban, so like maybe 10 million people in the Klang Valley. So don't be so like dumb and say, oh yeah, 30 million people, they're all my customers, right? Nobody will believe you. In fact, I think Kylie from 500 Startups, last week he made a presentation, which I'll tweet it out again later, I'll paste it in here, about Southeast Asia. Even though we have 620 million people, our addressable market for a tech company is really just, I can't remember what the number was, like 200 million? I'll tweet it out, right? Because he's basically taking tracking the urban, suburban areas in each city in Southeast Asia, and that is more addressable than everything. So be careful when you do this market estimation exercise. You can do very easily top down, oh yeah, 600 million, and then blah 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 will use my product, right? You can also do a bottoms up addressable market. It's a very consulting problem. I think any of you who've been in management consulting and you've done case studies and market estimation exercises would know what I'm talking about, and you can always Google this as well. But just be aware that investors are not so dumb. They know what, they might not know what the real market is, but if you just give them a very big number, they'll probably like glaze over you and be like, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So you really, at every slide, you need to prove your credibility, and you really need to understand what you're talking about. But the message here is that, yeah, you say, yeah, I am targeting client value right now, but eventually this problem applies to all these other countries in Southeast Asia, and my plan is to launch in Malaysia first, and it's to like say for 6 months to make sure it's there. And once I have product market fit, I'm going to launch in Jakarta and Thailand, or Jakarta and Bangkok, or Singapore, something like that. Right? So show that you have thought about it, you have thought about the larger picture. And then this one is really missing. Who here attended my workshop yesterday on metrics for startups? Okay, not bad. Decent people. So yeah, this is always missing. That's why I taught the class yesterday, because I really want to see that more in pictures. You don't show that you understand your customer acquisition cost, your CAC. You don't show that you understand your customer lifetime value. Then I feel like you haven't thought through your business model, right? You haven't thought through that. Like at the end of the session yesterday, someone mentioned that he's a B2B2C app, which is an app to find parking spots for the car, right? So he says that his customers will be people who are looking to park cars, and but then he mentioned that we walked through this business model where, assuming it costs, he spends $1,000 in Facebook marketing and another $1,000 on PR and copywriting and design, and he gets X number of customers. So his cost per customer is 10 ringgit, for example. And then the way he makes money is from the management, the owner of the parking lot, right? And he forgot that he would have to hire a salesperson to actually go and pitch to the building manager to give the parking lot. He forgot that cost. So then his CAC is not true CAC. His CAC is only half the CAC, or maybe even less. So once he calculates that he pays 5,000 ringgit for that salesperson and he gets one parking lot to sign up, that means your CAC becomes from 10 ringgit per customer to maybe 500 ringgit per customer. So then can you make more than 500 ringgit from the management building, right, from that customer? So your math has to make sense. And the ratio is 1 to 3. Your customer lifetime value, meaning like if you get this building manager to be your customer, because he's the one paying, is he paying by park? If he's paying by park, how many parks can you make a month? And say, I think he mentioned something, I can't remember, like 1,000, 2,000 parks a month. So he's making 1 ringgit per park, so that's 2,000 ringgit, right? And say his customer acquisition cost is, it's very complicated to pick someone else's business model, right? Because I don't remember. But anyway, the basic idea is that your customer lifetime value should be 3 times as much as your customer acquisition cost per customer. I will tag on the link to my workshop yesterday in this slide, so those of you who didn't attend can read it and learn how to calculate your business model. Right? But you need to show, the idea is that you need to show that you understand the math of your business model. Any questions so far? I don't know if this is confusing if you didn't attend my workshop. Okay. And then once you talk about your business model, here's how I'm going to make money. A lot of people also miss out on the slide. How are you going to acquire your users? How are you going to find them? Have you experimented with different business channels, right? So some of the business channels that we went through yesterday at the workshop are like Facebook, Google Ads, search engine optimization, SEO, and people think that SEO is free. It's only free if you learn how to do it and you do it yourself. But if you have to hire an expert or you have to pay to come to a workshop, that is cost to you too, right? So don't forget that cost. Or for you to hire a copywriter, digital marketer, and all that. So there are different acquisition channels. Figure out what they are. YouTube is always the channel that people miss out on, and YouTube actually has the cheapest ads, right? So advertising on YouTube, check that out. Also SEO, one of the MaGIC Academy workshops we did before is that SEO in English is very saturated, but SEO in local languages is very untapped. So Malay, and if you're doing Southeast Asia, like Thai language, Tagalog, Bahasa Indonesia, all these things are very, very easy to do SEO, and it's still very untapped. So create blog posts in like DM, right? If that's the target market, or create blog posts in I don't know, like Chinese language, and then you'll get the SEO that you want, driving traffic to your site for free.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I know for myself, I have built up my business pretty much through my social media, and my social media has been a great user acquisition for me. I have so many followers on Twitter, so many people on Facebook, and people definitely go there and converse with me, and they're interested. I have people who have said, where should I send the check? And so that's powerful. If you can just get your message out there as wide as possible, just throw the net wide. And then that will also help you to determine more about, how you want to refine that message. But I think that there's so many wonderful tools out there. It's really great.
Yeah, so make sure you run an experiment. Make sure you know how much each channel costs. The really expensive ones, if they're really expensive, just cut it out and then double down on the one that works, right? And you do experiment, then you can put on this slide, you show that, you demonstrate that you've run very tiny experiments. It doesn't have to be a big budget. It could be just 50 ringgit every week, but you've tried different channels and you understand how much they cost. Immediately, you have more credibility to me because you've done your homework compared to another entrepreneur. When I ask them, they're like, oh, I haven't tried it out yet. I'm like, you don't have 50 ringgit to experiment with Facebook ads. Why are you even starting a company, right? So you make sure they're also scalable and sustainable. So for example, a B2B solution. I always ask them, what is your plan? So a lot of people here pitch local, very hyper-local businesses where it's like, okay, at scale it might not work. Okay, now you are going to all the merchants, the small businesses, they're knocking on their door like, auntie, uncle, can you use my product? Do you want to try? I give you for free 1 month, 2 months, and then they get the customers. But it's like, okay, how is this going to work at scale? 1 customer, 10 customers, maybe you can handle. But then what's the plan? Are you going to hire an inside sales team, which means you have to hire 10 people, and how many customers can that 10 people get you, right? That is an inside sales team strategy. Or are you going to do referrals? Are you going to do affiliate revenue, meaning that you have distribution partners with a network of stores maybe, and you give them the 20% of your profit? And then mention that. If that's your strategy, mention that. Then at least I know, okay, I know you're doing this right now by yourself, but at scale, you have to demonstrate to me that my plan, I'm doing it myself to prove, to validate that it works, and I want to be close to my customers for feedback. But eventually, I'm going to hire 10 salespeople to do this in-house for, 1,000 customers a year. And I'm also going to have an affiliate model for other countries, or I'm going to franchise my model in other countries. And I'm going to, the model that I've seen work out based on my research is 20%, blah, 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 whatever, right? At least then you tell me that, oh, okay, you thought through it, right? Good point. And then traction over time, as I mentioned just now. Mentioning traction without time is useless, right? So you have to have this growth chart when you start it. So some people have this growth chart, and then in the middle of the way, it tapers a little bit, or it drops. It's okay. That's realistic. You cannot have this. If I see an entrepreneur's graph going like this, I'm like, really? Is this real? Open your Google Analytics. I want to check if this is real, right? So investors are not stupid, again. In fact, we've seen so many pitches that we know, we can smell it, we can see it from a mile away, that this is not a real growth chart. So be reasonable, be honest, have integrity, and make sure that you're showing the growth chart. So like one of our social enterprises here, they're doing sustainable fashion, and a couple of months they told me that they can explain why their growth dropped. They said that, we were in school at this time, and then we didn't have enough time to focus on the business, and then we were something like the growth stalled because they stopped marketing at the time. They were trying to figure out the strategy, and then after they joined MAP, the growth went back up. So I'm like, yeah, good. When you meet an investor, tell them that story, but the more important thing is that you are growing right now at the back end, right? Okay. And then validation factors. So if you're speaking to customers, put testimonials or testimonials or feedback from them. They put real faces and names because people always like to see that there's a real person behind that. And then team, right? Actually, I think this slide could be the first. So where you position this slide is the function of how credible your team is. If your team is really credible, say you're building this doctor medical product and you have 10 years of experience as a doctor in this specific expertise, put that up front. That is credible, right? If you've launched a company and you've sold it before, you've sold 2 companies before, put it up front, right? If you're just all newbies, 3 co-founders and you're all fresh grads, newbies, then maybe put it at the back because you want to wow the investor with all the good things, the traction, the products up front. Then, no, I think our team is the right team to do it because of X, Y, Z.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this occurs here, but in the U.S., we have a little bit of an I culture instead of we. And so sometimes I have to remind entrepreneurs that a team means we, not I. And oftentimes a co-founder who has more equity might focus their attention more on them. But for an investor, it's not only about you, it's about the entire team because they're investing in the people. Of course, it's the idea, it's the product, but that's going to pivot as time goes on and you raise capital. What's more important is if something happens, your team will be there, that you guys have integrity, that you'll go down in those dip moments. Remember from the storytelling, you have dips too. So you'll go down, but you'll all be surviving and you'll come back up and you'll thrive. And I think that investors need to see that.
All right, so then, somehow. Okay. So the last 2 things is, if you already have existing investors or commitments, mention it here. And a call to action. How much are you raising, and what are you raising the funds for? And that's it. And then real quickly, because we're running out of time, the third component of this is the founder story, right? So I'll give you just one example, and you think about it, you get the idea. So does anyone know Watch Over Me? Cynthia's app. So her story is very compelling, right? So it's about the dip. It's about the founder story, right? A few years ago, I think 3 years ago, she got kidnapped in a shopping mall, and she got shoved into a car, and she was terrified, right? And these guys were I don't know what they were gonna do to her. So she tells that story, right? And then how she actually managed to escape. And gosh, female sometimes is we don't have any protection, there's no safety, and that's why she's building Watch Over Me, this app that helps. It's kind of like a panic button, or there's a GPS to help your loved ones know where you are at any time. But that kind of story compels people, right? Again, it's like that's why you're passionate about this cause, and that's why you want to help other women feel safe, or even men feel safe. So make sure you have some kind of the more compelling the story, the more emotional and personal the story, the better. But I want to invest in someone. I invest in a team, right? A lot of investors invest in teams first. Like Kelly said, products could pivot and you can change and all that. The but the team is so important. See the founder story of why you are quitting your day job, you're quitting your comfortable corporate job to do this matters to me, because I want to know that you will not give up. I want to know that you're in this for the long haul and you're passionate about it.
And I just have one more thing I want to say about the CTA, the call to action. What I see happen is that, especially, and I don't know if it's like here as well, but a lot of women don't have the courage to ask for the money that they need. So people might ask, and this might be for men too, but from a women's perspective, I've seen women who need $1 million, but who ask for half of that. So you really have to think realistically, how much runway do you need? And then be brave, be able to back it up. You have to ask for what you need, because it's kind of a detriment if you don't get enough and you run out, you don't have enough runway.
All right, so the other things in the slide, it's a one-pager, it's an example of something that you send an investor before you meet them. You don't send them the full deck, you send them a one-pager, very brief summary. Don't tell all the details, just what gets them excited. And then make sure you know, this is just a few more helpful things to know your cap table, how you divide your shares. This is for your personal usage. You don't really reveal this to your investors at the first meeting, but it's just something for you to keep internally as you're building your company, to understand in case you did ask. Okay? All right, thank you so much.